Okay, we'll call the April 8th, 2014 Board of Commissioners meeting together. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with agenda review. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda this morning.
Okay.
Motion for approval.
Second. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Commissioners report on committees. Anyone want to? Drew, do you want to start?
I could. Yeah,
Good.
if you want to. You got a copy of it in front of you. Our last meeting was March 25th. And that evening, we had the pleasure of meeting, I don't know, there must have been 17 people out of the 20, I think, that are on our Citizens Academy for this spring. And all of us were there as a board and introduced ourselves, and it was kind of nice. It's their opening night for the Citizens Academy, and I think are they going 6 weeks this time, or is it 5, Bob?
6, I believe.
6 weeks this time, on Tuesday evenings. And Jesse, you know, has been really doing a good job of heading that up. But Wednesday, the 26th, I attended the School District 77 Community Ed and Recreation Advisory Council meeting. And there we looked at our midterm financials, discussed new positions, and reviewed the office remodel project, which cost over $100,000 to do in Lincoln Community Center. So on the 27th, I attended open house retirement event honoring Carol Lee. She has been working for the Harry Meyering Center here in Mankato for 40 years. That's quite a long time, you know, to be at one place, and it was nice to see a lot of folks there to give her a warm send-off. The 28th, attended a meeting with Will Purvis and staff, Bob Meyer, and we reviewed our proposed request that had come in from Gaburba. They're looking at participation in sort of a pilot project. It's a grant, but the time frames seemed a little bit tight for us, and we had a lot of questions, and so as far as I know, we're sending them a letter asking for more information, and there's a good chance we won't participate in this round anyway. For the One Watershed, One Plan, you know, that's that new thing that Bowser's coming out with. And then on the 31st, attended the Region 9 Transportation Advisory Committee, also known as TAC. It's at the intergovernmental building here in Mankato. And we review a lot of our local regional projects. I'd like to point out, I handed out an article from the Free Press that points out that, you know, we've got 308 road projects happening this 2014, and just in our region, we've got about $114 million worth of projects, which is double. And I've got a map, it's in my bag here. If you're interested in looking at it, they're all highlighted on there, every little spot and how each one of the projects, what it costs. Do you have anything to say, Bob? Because you saw part of that. We went to the...
Well, I think MnDOT was very clear that they're being as aggressive as they can be with the funds that are available.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's almost double what they normally would do in a year. Their average is usually, I think, 60,000, they said. So, but then I had a Minnesota River Board executive meeting with the executive director, Shannon Fisher. We're working on the discontinuance of the Joint Powers Agreement. I attended the Region 9 St. Peter Regional Center tour, which was set up through Region 9 here in Mankato, and we looked at some of their state bonding requested projects. They're asking for about $56 million for this year out of the bonding bill, and a lot of changes. Further trying to look at separating the MSOP program from just the mental health program that they have there on campus. And we looked at, well, they gave us a nice tour and gave us some updates. Also, the difference here on per diems for MSOP, the approximate daily rate is $318 a day, and then it's over $600 a day for MSH, where you have the MINDs, and so it's more than double to have in that program. And of course, we participate in that. Bob, are we paying 20%?
Those percentages are changing all the time.
Oh.
Some are 20%, some are 50%, depending on the amount of time, so.
Oh, okay.
There's various rates out
I
there.
just know it's gone up.
That's right.
Yeah, it's gone up over the last few years for county's responsibility. And, so then after that, we had the Region 9 Legislative Committee meeting, and I was invited to attend with that too, without Lone Star Barbecue in St. Peter. So it was kind of, it was nice, but a lot of issues, lots of issues covered. I'm a new member as an alternate director on MINRA, and that's our area agency on aging, covers 23 counties, and I'm just the alternate, but it so happened that somebody couldn't make it, so I attended over in Redwood Falls on April 2nd, and a lot of programs reviewed there, talked about some legislative issues. The same day I made it back in time to speak to the United Methodist Women's meeting they had at the Centenary United Methodist Church in Mankato. Then on April 3rd, I attended our South Central Minnesota MnDOT TZD Towards Zero Death Steering Committee meeting. We're also we're putting together a Blue Earth County TZD effort. So each county have their own little safe roads, so to speak, committee to talk about issues. And then on the 4th, I attended the United Way team meeting that's for supporting individuals and families here in the greater Mankato area. That meeting was at Boy Scouts building here in Mankato. And then yesterday, met on the 7th, the whole executive board from Minnesota River Board. It may be our last time gathering together. And we were up at MSU with Shannon Fisher, the outgoing executive director, because as of April 1st, the MRB agreement has ended. We've been getting some advice from Ricky Noonan, some legal advice, and to help draw up how difficult it might be to end the board agreement. And so then the executive board, from the full commission a few months ago, was handed the job of kind of finalizing what needs to be done. There's lots of little details, you know, even just talking about the bank account and, you know, what to do if there's funds left over. Once we get done with everything, we're going to probably hold on to some of the funds until the end of the year to see if there's anything that comes in late and that sort of thing. But any revenue or bills. So there's a lot of little details to iron out, but it looks like it's the closure has occurred, and now it's just a matter of wrapping up some minor details. So, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, well, after our last board meeting, we had a community farm meeting. Got caught up. Will and I got caught up with what's going to happen this year. And then, of course, I also attended the Citizens Academy. On March 27th, I attended an AMC Futures meeting. The speakers were State Legislative Auditor James Nobles. And I found out that James Nobles is the great-grandson of the person Nobles County was named after.
He's been at that for a long time, so.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a lot of history behind him, just in what he's been doing. And then we had a speaker by the name of David Horschlager, who is an author of a book called The Trust Edge, and he's also going to be a presenter at our next annual conference. And an amazing speaker, and the book is very good. I've got the book, and talking about how the United States is losing on the trust factor, and how people trust you and issues like that. Then the evening leadership speaker was Sarah Noor, who is a gal that came from Somalia. She grew up in the United States, got a job in public health, and now has been director for many medical programs in Minnesota. Very, very interesting speaker. The next day, because Futures is a 2-day event, the next day we had a speaker was Doug Wallace on ethical leadership in difficult situations, and then Trish Klein, who is the Itasca County Administrator, and she talked about upward mobility. On April 1st,
Myself and Commissioner Pifo attended the business after hours at the Loose Moose.
How was it?
And that was very, very nice. Met with a lot of business people from the Mankato area. April 2nd, we had our department head meeting. April 3rd, I attended a breakfast at Primrose. And it's always fun to talk with our senior citizens and get some of their knowledge. On April 4th, I had a AMC Executive Board call-in. And then on April 5th, I attended the Banco Electric annual meeting with Commissioner Purvis. And yesterday, I had a radio interview with KMSU for the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. AMC is putting on that sexual exploitation training the end of this month, and we talked about that, plus some other issues that had come up, and so that was all I had, sir.
Great. What?
Oh, see, not too much to add. After department heads and of course our board meeting, and we saw bands. On April 3rd, did have a joint ditch, I don't know, it's more like a seminar, I guess, but trying to coordinate things with our ditches with the multi-counties, and that was interesting. And for a guy that just has a handful of ditches, it was worth being there.
You got more than I have.
Yeah, and then that night we had our MPO, or Mankato North Mankato Area Planning Organization meeting, and we have formally just passed a lot of different things like the compliance with the federal government, with the civil rights provisions and everything else, so that we're moving along with the RFP on kind of for an organizations that'll win the bid on planning everything, putting everything together for our organization to meet the federal requirements. And then that's about it. Sunday I did speak to the Boy Scouts, their annual awards banquet.
Oh, nice.
Actually, the illustrious Drew Campbell spoke there 3 years ago or something. So
Did you sing?
I'm on the exec committee, so they figured it out.
Did you sing, Mark?
What's that?
Did you sing?
No, I did not sing. No. They requested specifically that I not. No.
I think I sang him a song.
I think you did, yeah. We couldn't match that. So that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
After the last board meeting, the Citizen Academy was already mentioned, but again, I think it's just worthy note to say that it is off to a good start again. It was nice to see a full program again, a lot of familiar names, and one guy is back for a second round, and someone else is mother came through earlier, so good to see. A couple things that weren't mentioned: the Regional Radio Board and my EMS committees both met a week or so ago. EMS, I think I reported last time that Scott Wrighton took a job with Region 9, so we promoted Mark into his position as the director, and then we hired another educator that started actually right after this meeting, so she will be coming on board to help Mark with his programming and education for the ambulance and fire departments. The Regional Radio Board has had an issue that's been out there for several months that we were really having a difficult time either getting a quorum to discuss it and pass it, but it's a name change, which is always very frustrating because it seems like we're going to do the same work, but the state wants us to change the name of the Regional Radio Board to the Regional Emergency Communication Board. And that is just so that we can take on some other duties and some other programs that are going to be coming down to have to do with broadband and some other things that the state is working on. So instead of starting up another whole entire board, we decided after a great deal of discussion to change the name to the Regional Emergency Communication Board, and we passed it at our Regional Radio Board last week, but now it'll have to come back to each individual county. So Ross will have to review it on behalf of Blue Earth County, and I think Ross even reviews it as a whole for
for the regional radio board. But so we're moving forward with that. Again, there was just a lot of discussion as why do we got to change our name? Why can't we just take these things underneath our umbrella? But the state wants us to change the name, so we reluctantly did it. Somebody from the state did come down and explain it to us why, and we did. We had the whole board was there, so everybody heard the discussion, and we passed it. So we'll be bringing that forward here in the next month or two, I would imagine. I also stopped by to see Carol Lee after 40 years at the Harry Myron Center. That is a good run for her. She's also a customer of mine, so it was nice to see her and congratulated her. Township officer meeting was also mentioned, which I think is having a great, or did everybody forget that already?
I forgot that.
I forgot to.
But that was very well attended again. They do a great job meeting quarterly. Most of the townships that you talk to said they only meet once a year. So that's exciting to see our Fluorth County and the townships be that involved. So we always get a good showing from the board too, which that's exciting for us. I was down at the Echo Food Shelf for a note of just honoring all the volunteers in the area. The mayor came down there and read a proclamation, and apparently did it at about the same time in 1,700 different cities that there were supposed to be mayors reading this proclamation. So it was kind of a last minute thing. Laura down there meant to get a notice out to all of us, but she just made a few calls, and I was actually on my way to another meeting, so I stopped by there for a few minutes. We've been really busy out at MRCI. New building's going up. It's a big building. It's looking really nice. It is going to really enhance our programs out there. We are making a lot of changes in the MRCI organization. A lot of things are going really well. The candy business is taking off. We're starting to get a handle on all the business that we're getting from there. On May 6th, we are doing after hours up at MRCI, so if anybody is available, it will be up there, I would imagine, kind of float around the whole entire building. Not the new building, we'll be up at the old building at Map Drive. The new building's not open.
I think it's the same day we have the parks.
Probably is, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't even.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it'd be before that.
Yeah, you just run up there quick and say hi, and then you
Yeah.
go to the
There you
first
go.
meeting.
Make a, then the department head was already mentioned. We had a planning and zoning meeting, one item on the agenda, which we will see at the end of this month. And then the joint ditch meeting that Mark mentioned, which Faribault County is kind of heading up and doing a good job and just kind of get us together. I too thought it was more of a seminar. I thought it was supposed to be more of a basically a joint ditch meeting discussing the ditches that we have together. So, but the predecessor with this meeting, which was fine to see Kurt Dieter down again, but I think Tom Lovell brought up a good point that we need to talk about, you know, what our policies are going to be for these joint ditches, and I think we'll get some good discussion out of it. But it was a trip worth down to visit with those guys and move forward. And that brings me to today, Mr. Chair.
Okay, good. I just got to cut, most of the stuff has been mentioned. The one thing is the Rural Minnesota Energy Board and the PACE meeting down at Slayton. Lots of stuff happening in the energy field. The PACE is a relatively new program for energy upgrades on businesses. There's dollars to be loaned at relatively low interest rate and then assessed to the property taxes. I think that's a program that will catch on, be good for the area. On the second, had the extension nutrition educator interviews. It's a position we funded through extension. I think we had interviewed 4 candidates, had good candidates, and I know an offer has been made to one of the candidates, so I think they'll be coming to the board when that decision is made. On the 3rd, we had the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund Committee meeting at TDS. We awarded several sub-grants to area libraries, mostly for summer programming. Looks like there'll be a lot of exciting programming at our area libraries this summer. Specifically, 2 of them that I'm tickled about is some of our smaller communities. There'll be some programming in Amboy through the library and Good Thunder this summer. So I think it's good that we reach out to that. And then we had the County Ditch 50 landowners meeting on the 4th, looking at a significant repair on that. So trying to bring the landowners together to see how they would like to proceed with that. And of course, Vance mentioned the Benko annual meeting. So, and that brings us up to today for me also. I think
Nice.
it's, want to do the historic courthouse window bids now?
Sure. Ask Mr. Edwards to step forward and present some information on that.
Hi, Tim.
Morning, Tim.
Morning.
Morning.
Just wanted to update you a little bit on the window bids that we received. As you know, we rebid the window project because the price is coming in a little higher than anticipated. And what we did, we broke it out into a couple addendums on there. What we did is like the high clock tower windows, we put that as an addendum 1. And then there's some lower clock tower windows, we did them as addendum 2. And then the addendum 3 we added was the windows on the 3rd floor. And some of them are in the attic, they're the ones that are in the dormer windows. With that said,
Excuse me.
you know, with everything looking at that, you know, we did lower the bid a little bit, just a little under 5,000 compared to our original bids that we received. And I did a little research as well. I know there were some issues, or concerns, should say, not issues, about the smoke within the buildings as well, inoperable windows. And I talked with the fire commanders back on March 6th about the best way to vent out the smoke out of the buildings. And he stated the best way that they are going to do that is to use the air handlers and suck all the smoke out of the building. I also mentioned we have a roof hatch on the roof here that, you know, would that make sense to use that as well and vent any smoke out through the attic up into the, you know, up through the roof and out as well. And they stated that would be the best way to do it with the air handlers and to vent it out the roof.
Oh, okay. Thanks for doing that, that's good.
Yep, yeah, no problem there. Like I said, I was kind of curious of their best practice of how to vent everything out, and he said for the most part, they use the commercial air handlers, and what we can do is open that pretty much 100%, sucking in all the outside air and kind of blowing it out that way as well, so. But after doing the initial check on best way to do that, and kind of reviewing the bids and checking out, you know, kind of the references as well, which way the best way would be go. I would ask to accept the bids for the low bid of $235,850 from Goodrich Construction to do all the windows. I know
I would move to approve that.
Second.
And that's all the windows, including the tower and all that?
Correct, yep. The windows up in the tower as well, they're kind of in tough shape. They got, you know, they're cracked and leaking pretty good up there, so that's why I did.
Just as well do it.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. It's, you know.
I might also mention that last year we budgeted 200,000 and we spent, what, 128?
128.
And we budgeted 200,000 this year, and so we're gonna be over that amount, but we do have funds remaining from last year's bids.
I would, I'm very happy to see that we had 3 very good construction companies from the Mankato area, and we are, you know, the one that received the bid is Goodrich Construction, who, again, is a very, very good construction company here in Mankato, and I'm very happy to see that we're getting local people doing this.
Yeah, he was also on the Mankato Historical
Yeah.
Yes.
Commission.
Yeah,
there.
he's-
Preservation,
that's his-
Preservation Commission.
Correct.
That's-
Yeah.
That's his
He
expertise.
does an amazing job, but the 3 from Mankato, they're all very, very good. It's just that I'm just happy to get a Mankato
Yeah,
construction company doing
We
this.
actually got a few more bids as well. We only had 2 bids the first time around. We ended up with 4 this time. So.
That's good, yeah.
And like I said, bids came in a little lower as well,
Yeah.
which is always good, so.
That's great.
Did they tell you why they were so high before? No.
No, they just, we just told them that, you know, it was a little higher than what our budget was, so we wanted
Yeah.
to see if we'd, you know, get some lower pricing on it and
More competitive, maybe.
more competitive, yep, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Very
not
good.
an easy job, so.
It's
No,
up
no.
higher.
Easy
it's up quite a
dealing
bit
with this,
higher.
with this building, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
a little higher up
Yeah.
there,
A lot
so.
of mobilization.
Any other discussion?
The only thing I'd like to mention, which we did mention the first time around too, is the lower windows was, it did go to the Preservation Committee, and I saw Tim was there at that advisory committee there for the city, and they approved, Historical Society and the Preservation Committee approved the color and the style of the installation and everything, so it's, so people know that, that those things were covered too.
The window's gonna be bright pink then? or-
Well, I thought they were gonna be orange, to highlight the,
They actually, Jessica Potter from the Historical Society has come over, took a look at the windows, and
Yeah.
she said she's surprised how nice it matched up to the original windows that were here.
Very
so.
good.
And that's
Which
helpful.
was great.
It's kind of a
You
sand
don't even
color,
notice.
sort of a sandstone color.
Yeah, it kinda got that little tint of pink in there as well.
Yeah.
It matches some of the stone on the building as well, so
Yeah.
I think it came out real good on the basement first, and the expectations are the same way for the upper floors as well, so.
And are they working well? I mean, have the people been happy with them?
Yes, yeah, I know from my office down there in the northwest corner, you know, I used to get some of the frost build up
Yeah.
inside the window there, and, you know, this year being as cold
Yeah.
and snowy it was, no frost build up at
Really?
all, and, you know.
Good.
Kinda missed it, I bet.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Had
great.
to actually go outside to see what the temps were.
His office is the only one that has a ventilating window though, so they get fresh air.
Tim, I know you well enough, you're outside enough to know what it's like.
Okay,
All right.
any other discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks, Tim.
Now he doesn't have a place to keep his pop cold though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. So,
He can still smoke.
shall we do the library resolution right away?
If that's all right, Mr. Chair, then we can
Yeah,
have
let's-
Tim.
let's do
We got
that.
Tim here.
Yeah, Tim, do you wanna,
We don't wanna make you stay through the Public Works, report.
I know you wanted to.
Unless you're the one that has to go back to work.
Heard you on the radio this morning, Tim, sounded good.
Thank you.
Nice.
Have a lot of things going on with the library
Yeah,
this month.
that bear thing sounds interesting.
The Teddy Bear Clinic.
Yeah. Oh, when you said teddy bear clinic, you mentioned that last time. I guess you didn't elaborate on it. You elaborated on it this morning, and you're gonna check out the teddy bears apparently.
Yeah.
You're gonna have nurses.
Yeah, it's actually a great cooperation between the library and public health, community health
Yeah,
for the
neat.
county and Rasmussen Nursing School.
That's pretty cool.
It really is.
Yeah.
Teach the kids how to wash their hands.
Wash
We have
your
a black
hands.
light.
oh no.
Yes.
So, okay, well, let's, continue with the resolution.
Okay, basically what you have in front of you is the resolution, and this is the final step in turning the library board into an advisory board. It has passed the state legislature, both houses, signed by the governor, and so the resolution in front of you basically prescribes the duties of the library board as in its advisory capacity. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have regarding that.
Okay, very good. Well, it's been a couple year process, hasn't it?
It's been a few years, right? And it really, you know, once the ball started rolling with our area legislators,
Mhm.
they've been terrific as far as moving it forward, and being very supportive of it. And it really went fairly smoothly.
That's
so.
great.
I just had a question of, Ross, have you had a chance just to look it over too a little bit, or does does this resolution reflect that we're accepting the statute? I mean, does it, okay.
Well, I would love to have Will be able to, to run this through, but since he's the chair.
Yeah,
I will make the motion.
okay, great. Is there a 2nd?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
Well, I really appreciate all the work that Will and Tim and all the staff have done on this. because it takes quite a bit. And like I said, we've been working on this for over 2 years. And it takes a lot to be able to bring it to the Capitol and explain to the legislators and then the governor why this is needed for Blue Earth County. So I really appreciate all the work that's gone into this.
The only question that went through my mind is, and maybe I know it's really late in this show, but was it necessary to have it in law, or we couldn't do it just as a policy?
No,
As a county
because
policy?
it is a Minnesota statute that prescribes what a library board constitutes in the state of Minnesota. Literally, it takes an act of the legislature then to deviate anything from that statute, and that's why we had to go to the legislature to get pretty much of a
Okay.
waiver for
It
our
seems like a
library.
lot of work for, it's actually, in my mind, it looks like a policy, you know what I mean, but it's
Right.
just.
Well, but it's originated, it's
Just,
statutory.
I mean, like a county.
Was this on the consent calendar? I don't, or did we, it was pretty much on the consent calendar all the way through, or did it have to go through you don't know it, okay. I know what I'm talking about, okay.
You mean for
Usually
us?
these kind of things would just be on simple consent calendar, up or down, but.
Yeah.
Tim was up there testifying.
No,
I
Well,
saw
no,
you.
we had to go
but
to
you have to
committee, yeah.
testify,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you have.
Okay. I saw you on
but it
TV
would-
too,
yeah.
by the way.
Oh, thank
It didn't
you.
have to go through committee of the whole and all that jazz, but maybe, I didn't really
Yeah.
notice, yeah.
So,
Because it isn't, well, it wasn't controversial at all, and so, yeah.
no, and there have been some other libraries that, and
Yeah.
counties that have
Yeah.
done this before, so it wasn't, cutting edge. But by the same token, there was a lot of discussion at the legislature saying, maybe we need to change that statute so that it makes it easier for counties to actually, make that change if they need to, rather than go through the process that we had to.
Because we were helping, yeah. Maybe it'll help. That was part of that unsession, but I don't know.
Correct.
So, no, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you.
Good job on that.
Thank you.
Good job, Tim.
Yeah, he didn't look bad on TV at all.
Thanks. Better on radio though.
Yes.
Bring Al up.
Okay, shall we move on to the Public Works?
I'll ask Mr. Forsberg to come forward.
Good morning, folks.
Morning, Al.
Morning, Al.
Hope everyone's enjoying our transition to spring, I think.
There's still a cold spot up in Canada, on the farm radio, it talked about how that's coming here.
Oh,
And
bah
it's
humbug.
like 38 below up there yet, and it's why we'll be cool for a while.
All right.
Eureka, Canada, I guess it's called, where it is. It's just so you,
When is that supposed to hit?
I don't know, they just claim it's gonna be like April will be cooler and, I don't know, until the front leaves or whatever.
Next week.
When's the ice going out? That's all we want to know.
Yeah.
While we're doing our business, perhaps I could pass around some photos of 3 bridges on County 5, north of Mankato. County 5 is a heavily traveled road, especially with trucks serving the quarries, gravel pits. And the abutments are in good condition, but the bridge decks themselves are in very poor condition. So we're trying to advance these 3 bridges so that we could construct them next summer. But if you look at the pictures showing the bridge decks from the bottom, you'll see what the problem is. And unfortunately, the House bill for local bridge replacement projects is only $21.75 million. 11.75 million earmarked for one bridge in Minneapolis, leaving only $10 million for the entire rest of the state. I'm certainly hoping that the Senate, with the greater amount, prevails and that moves forward. Otherwise, we've got some bridges in our 5-year plan that would not have funding until more bonding authorization is done. It's really unfortunate. We opened bids for a number of items recently. Certainly the biggest one, the most complex one, being the Main Street and Madison Lake, along with Cherry Street, which leads from their Main Street back to our county highway. It's 15 pages of bid abstract.
Wow. That's because you're replacing everything, right? And it's,
Yeah, it's a complex project with a lot of bid items. As you know, with our construction projects, we pay for each item, and then they bid so much per unit for that item. So when there's a lot of items, and when there's several bidders, which is always good, the abstracts get quite large. So I did include, as a first handout, the summary. We received bids from Holtmeyer Construction and Heselton Construction, ECM Construction, WW Blacktopping, GM Contracting. The low bid was Holtmeyer Construction, $1,262,257, which was about 8.3% above our estimate. However, still within what we had budgeted for the project. So I would recommend that we go ahead with that bid. The city is very supportive. It's a joint planning effort, a joint project with the city of Madison Lake. Will include new infrastructure, pipes, sewer, a tremendous project for the future of the city of Madison Lake.
I would move approval for. Is the road gonna be the same width, or is it gonna come in a little bit maybe, or?
It'll be very, very similar to the existing road.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the detail you mailed out, because then I can see, I think it's a 12-foot curb from the,
The sidewalk.
yeah, 12-foot with the boulevard.
And
Some specialty grasses or something I saw they have planned for in there or something.
trees, lots of trees.
And trees.
Yeah. It'll be a very nice, very attractive project.
Yeah, sounds really quite different from last year's plan. It seemed like it didn't include trees, so it was nice that they did.
Yeah.
I would move approval for Haltmeyer Construction.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, in a township bridge replacement project, Ceresco Township, southwest corner of the county. Received bids from MK Bridge Construction, Structural Specialties, and Icon Constructors. It's a pretty straightforward situation where the old deteriorated bridge actually is closed at this point because of rotting timber members. Is being replaced by a modern concrete bridge. Low bid was $376,079, 8% under the estimate. Will be funded by township bridge funds primarily.
Where's MK Bridge out of?
I don't know, you know, Ryan, where MK is out of?
Yes, Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, Walnut Grove?
Walnut Grove.
Hey, hey, we're good.
Walnut Grove.
Yeah. So now they can have a big prairie.
Yeah.
The motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second. Second.
Okay, discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
I have a lot of materials to keep organized and get mixed up this morning. Okay, the next item, bids for paint for traffic striping.
We don't need that, do we, Drew?
Not on the gravels.
Yeah,
Not a
wish they
gravel.
could stripe the gravel.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Spray it bright gold or something.
It's all traditional white and yellow paint.
And then as soon as the road grader grows over it, you have to do it
I
again,
know, I
right?
know.
And then the beads are the glass beads that get sprinkled on top of the paint to give it additional reflectivity. We had two bids, AAA striping and traffic marking, both of which have worked for us in the past and done a good job. And at the bottom of the page is the previous unit, so you can kind of see what's happening with the prices. They've actually come down a little bit per gallon. I'm not sure why that is. But the low bid AAA striping, $107,775, I would recommend award to them.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay,
Is
any
that-
discussion?
Was that the ones that had it last time? I don't remember the AAA or.
You know who had it?
I believe they did.
Yeah, I'm just I'm trying to remember.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Oh, I'm sorry, wrong. There we go. Asphalt for seal coat project. Every year we seal coat on the order of 20 to 30 or 40 miles of our paved county highways. We spray a thin asphalt layer and then you put B-rock on top of that. That preserves the asphalt. We get more life out of our roads. It's a preventive maintenance strategy. We had bids for, and there's two different kinds of asphalt, CRS2 emulsified asphalt. And then the diluted is what we would use for a fog seal on top of the P-rock. And bids from Flint Hills out of Invergrove Heights, and Jeff Rowe out of Sioux City, Iowa, H.G. Meigs out of Portage, Wisconsin. Low bid was Flint Hills. I would recommend award to them. A little bit higher than last year, but
So moved. Second.
Okay, discussion? There's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
okay, calcium chloride, which is used for dust control. We've got a program, in fact, it's being advertised now, where we will apply at our cost, material, labor, equipment on gravel roads in front of farmsteads to control dust. But we also use the same material for ice control in the wintertime. We'll melt ice to a lower temperature than regular sodium chloride salt. Had bids from Tri-City Paving, 90 cents a gallon. Envirotech, 0.898 cents per gallon. About the same as last year. Low bid is Tri-City Paving, 27,000. I would recommend award to them. That's for 30,000 gallons.
So I see a lower bid from Envirotech. How
Yeah.
come?
You're right. You're right.
Good catch there, sir.
Good catch.
Yeah, it's 'cause it's like $60.
I mean, it's
Not
like
by much.
two,
Yeah, 60 bucks, but
two
it-
1/100ths
yeah,
of a
yeah.
penny.
Yeah.
But so be it.
you're absolutely
Low
correct.
bid usually comes in.
We would
I
have to have
would-
good rationale for not picking them, and they have been a good supplier in the past.
I would move to approve Envirotech.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion?
Now, for the farmers though, Al, I get questions, it's only a certain window, right? Because you clean the equipment up, so it's not like it's something we have available all year round.
Right.
It's a certain window,
Yeah.
because after the equipment gets cleaned up, it's hard to.
We take a regular tandem dump truck and put a big
Convert it.
plastic bubble tank
Yeah.
in it with a spray bar and a
So if
pump.
somebody wants it, it's early spring.
Yeah, we apply it twice with this one given price, once in the spring and then once about midsummer.
Okay.
And then we may put it back in, if there's a construction project and a detour and a lot of traffic is going on a gravel road.
Okay.
For special purposes of that sort. Yep. But no, it isn't something that we can do on demand efficiently.
Right.
Because it interrupts our use of that truck.
Okay, just need to know.
Yep.
And this is strictly for dust control, correct?
Yeah, in the summer.
In the summer, it's in a big tank, we use it in the wintertime for a different purpose. What's kind of interesting is to keep it from freezing in the winter, you actually have to add water to it and dilute it somewhat.
Wow.
Chemically, it has a lower freezing point if you dilute it somewhat.
It's interesting how much it's gone down from the year before. For those two companies, but Quality Propane didn't bid this year.
Okay, any other discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, then a resolution for Highway 22 safety improvements in conjunction with MnDOT's pavement rehab on Highway 22 from basically County 90 south of Mapleton. And we reviewed this, discussed it at our workshop here a few weeks ago. Same resolution, same purpose, request some safety improvements along with their pavement rehab project. I think they're very open to these items.
Okay.
With the exception of extending the 4-lane from Mankato to 90, that's quite a cost.
Where are they at on this project exactly? Is this a little premature, or should we be working this, I mean, isn't that project all like 2 or 3 years yet, or? I mean, I know it's a big project, but are we, should we wait until see where they go with a little more, or is this appropriate timing, I guess, is my question.
It is appropriate because they have a much longer lead time with their planning and design and programming for projects.
Yeah.
They're actually coordinating this and doing planning and design work now for a project in 17 and 18.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that would be the time to
Yeah.
do it.
I'd move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any discussion?
I think it'd be, you know, if we could get ourselves a roundabout at 90 and 22, that would be a very, very helpful, change to that intersection right there. Right now, it's gotta be one of the most dangerous intersections we have in the county.
There's been at least one fatality and some serious accidents at the corner just because it's become so busy.
It's just scary to pull out from 90 onto 22.
So what this is asking is that they review the intersection control evaluation study that was finished a couple, 3 years ago. And it's likely to be a roundabout, but it's not certain at this point.
Yeah, and it doesn't specify that here, just.
Yep.
What's our reasoning for the 4-lane all the way out to 90, just for future growth, or
Future growth and the amount of traffic on it.
is there enough traffic on it now to
Yeah.
support a
Yeah.
4-lane?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Would, obviously, if they don't do a 4-lane, it'd probably be a 3-lane with a left turn lane, or?
Probably would remain the present configuration, well, 90 has turn lanes. This would be asking not for turn lanes at every intersection all the way to Mapleton, but just at the major intersections,
Okay.
which are our county highways, 98, 16, 10, 14, and then our 7 where you enter Mapleton. We have overhead street lighting. That was installed as a cooperative project with us a few years ago, where they provided the street light and the equipment, and we hired the electrician to install it, and we pay the electric bill. We want that to be perpetuated. It may have to be moved back a little bit.
Mm.
And then they're gonna be building off quite a bit of asphalt when they put the concrete overlay on. We could make good use of that asphalt for our gravel roads and other purposes if they could make that available to us. They're very open to these requests. I think, in fact, they appreciate our coming forward.
Yeah, it'll just be case of money for the 4-lane all the way to
Yeah.
90, be the big thing,
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, a number of information items. I believe in your packet, there was a map of the County 12 from 17 to Trunk Highway 83.
I couldn't find it, I was having trouble.
You couldn't?
I couldn't,
No,
but.
I didn't have, no, there isn't a map attached.
Could someone make 10 copies of this quickly, and then,
I can try, we don't have a color copier.
or Jesse could do that?
Yeah, we don't have a fancy color copy like the copier like the highway department. yeah.
Okay, we could skip to some other items while Jesse's taking care of that. Traffic signal for County 82, North Victory and Premier Drive at the future Fleet Farm site, and also the road that serves Menards. There would be no cost. The developers agreement earlier with Menards and with Fleet Farm would pay for that signal, as Home Depot paid for the one further to the west. So that was an easy item to budget for. The Fluor County cost share for the Highway 22, County 17 roundabout, MnDOT project, our intersection Lake County 17. The bill is in, $708,805.89, which is close to what the estimate was for our agreement earlier. Speaking of roundabouts, County 60, 82, Victory Stadium Road roundabout. As you know, there was a late completion on that project. Was scheduled to be completed before MSU resumed, and didn't get completed and opened until November. We've been negotiating with the contractor, SMC, to resolve the liquidated damages question, and then also there were some disagreements on the amount of pay for some work items. We have resolved that. We've reached agreement with them. It gets very complicated. I guess just hitting the high points of it. The county had proposed paying for additional work and reduction in the liquidated damages. The total fine was $140,000. They had made the argument that they were slowed because the Corps permit was delayed their work, and addition of a water main at the city's request delayed their work. And then the plans were prepared by Bolton and Mink. There was an error in the earthwork quantities, so that resulted in their double handling some materials. So they had a reasonable case on those items. We proposed reducing the liquidated damages to $72,000. They proposed reducing them to $140,000, reducing them $140,000. We ended up agreeing on liquidated damages of $106,000 between the two numbers. We had proposed additional work payment of $44,298. They had proposed additional payment of $115,913. We ended up agreeing to $56,782. So I think it's a fair resolution of the question. This allows us to move forward with finaling out the contract, and it's done. I'd like to thank Ross for his work with us, working with their attorney to reach mutual settlement here. We almost always do. We strive very hard to reach an agreeable settlement on these items. So, construction projects, as you know, will be starting on County 17 within a couple weeks. Mother Nature is as usual, is in control.
Looks like they're kind of getting ready out there already. They're doing mole activity. I think I saw somebody out there moving around.
Really? Or maybe utilities, or
could have been. Yeah, there's some work going on.
They're doing some utility work out there.
Is it utility?
Yeah.
Are they gonna close the whole road on the 15th then, Al, or is it just
We'll be meeting with them next week,
Will you?
and we'll get their plans. I know your preference that they don't close the whole road
Yep.
until necessary.
If you could leave it open to 12, that would be I think just be the flow of traffic would be much nicer, and if they're not gonna work on that section of the road while they're trying to get the roundabout done, so.
Right.
That'd be my preference.
We will share that preference with them,
All right.
but we don't have any leverage or control over that. Okay, so that will be starting within a couple of weeks perhaps. We're meeting with the contractor next week. As you know, we just awarded the Main Street project in Mapleton and the Ceresco Bridge. County 26 project on the north side of Eagle Lake is being advertised. Bids open May 2nd. Be very nice to get that project completed. Maintenance overlays. With 420 miles of bituminous pavements, we need to overlay at least once every 15 to 20 years for good maintenance. That contract bids open May 2nd. County 14 bridge, bid scheduled to open June 6th. We've got a couple parcels we're acquiring there, but that's going well. County Road 147, that project is all ready to go, but it is hostage to the legislature authorizing additional local bridge bonds. Perfect timing. Thank you, Jesse. Going back to information item 1, we've been working with SRF Consultants. We've coordinated with the City of Mankato on where future intersections would go. And this is important, not only because it's needed in the environmental document, but as development proposals come in, and there are some possibilities out there now actually, the developers are going to want to know where the future intersections are. So, if you look at the top of the page, you see County 17, you see the County 12 intersection roundabout there. Coming south, first future intersection would be an extension of Bassett. Bassett doesn't exist yet out there, that's why it's a dashed line. A circle is shown anticipating a roundabout, but when we actually got to the design, because of the federal money involved, we would need to do an ICE study there and ICE studies for the other intersections, looking at four-way stop, signal lights, roundabouts. It's likely to be a roundabout. Moving south further, you see Carver Road, the Justice Center, the Highway Department. We would want to connect them in as soon as the road is built, they'll want a connection. So it's showing Carver Road curving over and connecting to County 12 with full access. It would probably be stop signs. It would probably convert to the median be closed and convert to a right in and right out, because the city's future long-range plan and the MATAP's plan is that Carver Road would come south and then curve over to Hoffman and intersect with Hoffman. And then Hoffman will have a roundabout and the connection would be there. So that future Carver is shown as a dashed line coming over, very approximate. Carver would proceed south from there, straight south, and serve that large block of land for development. At that Hoffman intersection also, there's a dashed line going off to the east. That would serve the land east of County 12. Would be a full intersection. Coming south, there's the gravel road now that serves about 5 residences and some farmland. If the road is built soon, there would have to be connection to that gravel road, even though it's not at a good location for a future full access intersection. So when the road opened, it would be side street stop, but when the interior street system is built for that land, that intersection would be closed, the stop signs would be taken out, and the access would be via the one just to the north of it. Moving south, dash lines, okay, that would be future full intersection, future intersection constructed, and then finally brings you to 83. So it's providing access in accordance with MATAPs. We would get controlled access along it, so you wouldn't end up with driveways and streets more frequently than that, allowing for the safer and the smoother flow of traffic. You know, this isn't to say that if a large development proposal comes in, like another Walmart or something like that, these aren't set in stone. They can be shifted a little here or shifted a little there, but it lays out a pattern that the developers and the city can work with as that area develops.
I suppose they need access onto that throughway there to the south of the Justice Center. Would that help with the deputies and that sort of thing too?
Yeah, we need to provide interim full access there so the deputies, the sheriff can get out and the highway department has access to it
Quicker.
But we don't want full access permanently there because it's too close to the one down at Hoffman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Hoffman would become the future long-term full access intersection. But only the one at Carver curving over there, the northerly one, that wouldn't be taken out until Carver is built and connects to Hoffman.
Oh, I see. So it's a temporary.
Yeah, it's a temporary full access, but it could be a permanent right in, right out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was the most difficult one to deal with.
Something to discuss in future work sessions, it looks like.
Well, it is, except we need to get our environmental document done and keep proceeding with that.
Yeah.
The other ones are pretty straightforward. When you look at MATAP's guidelines and you look at extensions of existing major streets, Bassett, Hoffman, those are pretty clear. The question was what to do with connecting Carver until the full roundabout is built at Hoffman. Not connecting Carver until that full roundabout and the Carver connection is in place just didn't seem to make sense because the sheriff will want access
Yeah.
and the highway department will want access.
I can see where maybe it's not the best spot for it because it's on a curve kind of almost. Right
Yeah.
there.
And the same thing with the gravel road one, where it says side street stop control. That's not a good location for a permanent intersection, but yet there are houses back there and there's land to be served, so it's gonna need a connection. Would be set up with stop signs as a temporary connection until the interior street system is built and they have access to the full roundabout intersections.
What's that mean, stop sign?
Stop signs on the side streets.
On the sides.
The gravel road would have stop signs, the main road would go through.
Yeah.
All right.
our goal here is to get the environmental documents done and to have a right-of-way map so that when development plats come in, we're saying we need right-of-way dedicated here, we need an outlot here, so that there is a continuous path for that road.
This alignment has been pretty much set, the alignment.
Yes, we've
Really
gone
can't
through
go anywhere
several-
else with it.
Yeah, we've gone through several iterations and,
Yeah.
between MATEPs and the city's long-term planning and this big public water wetland and the public water stream, it's pretty well defined for us.
That does limit that one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it looks good that way.
It's a good alignment, it'll work
Yeah.
very well. Associated with this too, we applied for a Tiger grant last year. We're in the process of applying for a Tiger grant this last round. Congress authorized $800 million for Tiger grant funds. So we'll be throwing our hat in the ring. Grant applications due April 28th. Okay. Well, planning projects, we actually have 3 pretty significant planning projects we're working on in parallel here as we move into the construction season. The one we just reviewed, County 12, of course. But also County 1, from Good Thunder to Trunk Highway 30, would be a pavement rehab, safety improvement project. We're looking to set an open house date at Forward Use and Possibilities.
Yep.
Let us know if one of those dates works out.
Okay.
So we'll set an open house for it.
Excuse me.
The potential Trunk Highway 66 turnback project, discussed at our last workshop, and we agreed that, yep, we should go out and meet with the landowners that are primarily affected. And we've done that, or we're in the process of doing that. We have a couple left to meet with. It's gone quite well, really. I think there's general acceptance that the road certainly needs work and has a problem. They, of course, would like to minimize the effect on their property.
And then we were going to have an open house, correct?
Well, I've been thinking about that, and what I would like to do is share the results of these landowner meetings with you folks in a workshop, more of an informal session. I'll put together a summary memo of who we met with and what their primary concerns were. Share that result with you in a workshop. Before we have an open house, where you're basically telling the public out there, we're gonna do this, I'd like to get a draft agreement from MnDOT to see if it's something that we're interested in.
Except that I think it was the will of the board that we had the open house before we got some sort of a draft agreement with MnDOT. Because it just seemed that once we have that draft agreement, it's a done deal, and we want to make sure the citizens know what's up front before we go to MnDOT.
Yeah, well, it's a question I want to raise with you folks this morning. The individual meetings have been very helpful, very useful. I'd like you folks to have that information. And as I say, I'm concerned that we have an open house and bring everybody in, and then MnDOT will not enter into an agreement that we find reasonable. You see where I'm coming from? What if we have an open house, we're telling folks we're gonna do this,
Oh.
and we're
you're
getting
saying
into a
that,
lot
yeah.
of detail, we need more design work, and then MnDOT comes back and says, we're not gonna put 20 million into this, we're only gonna put 10.
Yeah.
Then we're in
We
an
don't
awkward
look so
spot there
good, yeah.
too.
Well,
It's,
then
you know,
we
there's
just, then we just explained to them that we're not gonna do it
Yeah.
because MnDOT decided not to jump into it. I think
it's a
it's
timing
really,
question, you know?
I think it's pretty easy to, I mean, we don't have stupid people out here. It's pretty easy to explain to them that we just want to be open and transparent, and we want them to see what's gonna happen before we get in with MnDOT. So
It's a timing issue, I agree with Al, but I'm not, you could have another workshop if you want, but I won't give you any direction after that workshop till I have the public hearing.
No.
I'm just not sure I even support the the new alignment you guys showed us in that brief public, or in the brief meeting we had from 90 into West Mankato, you know, heading north. So I got a lot of questions about that alignment. I want to hear from the citizens. I've gotten a lot of feedback already from half a dozen people, but via email and a couple phone calls. So, you know, people that are concerned about mostly that northern end. The southern end, I think everybody, you know, with that being on the same alignment's pretty comfortable with that. So, yeah, it's a timing question, and I guess I feel more comfortable having the public hearing first, explaining to the people this is what we'd like to see, maybe. And it's what we'll send to MnDOT. If it doesn't come back and MnDOT doesn't want to spend all that money on the north end or the south end, whatever, you know, we just have to explain that to them. But I think we need the feedback first. I'm very nervous about getting a plan approved and going into the work session or into the public hearing saying this is the route we're building, and then people come in and just say, well, it's already a done deal. Why are we even here talking about it?
Yeah.
So that's my concern.
Well, and we've had a lot of public feedback already just
Mhm.
from the media coverage, and
Yep.
I really do think that the folks out there want to have their input on this project. So, even on the south end,
Yeah.
folks have a lot to say about it.
Talking about your district?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his part is south, mine.
They're getting nervous about all those roundabouts.
Yeah.
They're getting nervous about all the roundabouts in the Wills District.
We
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
certainly want to have an open house before we enter into an agreement. There's no doubt about that. So the question is, do you want me to share what we've learned from those individual meetings with you prior to the open house? Or would you rather wait until we have the open house and we've got
Compile all of it, I guess.
Information from-
I can be comfortable with that.
both landowners and,
That'd be kind of my thoughts is that, you know, we've already kind of touched on the two big folks that are
Yeah.
affected on
You
that.
could certainly send us an email with the summary of
Yeah.
what you've discussed so
Yeah.
far, and then we can compile all the input we have after the
Sure.
open house.
sure. You know, I know you folks want to be involved in these projects and be brought along with them as they develop. So that's my interest in having a workshop and sharing with you what we've learned up to this point.
Mhm.
But if you'd rather not get that until after the open house and we do it all at once, well, that's fine too.
I mean, you mean get more feedback to compile with what Al's
Correct.
gotten?
Yeah.
So it's another step in information gathering
Correct.
from the
Yeah.
community.
I guess that would be my preference, is that we get all the input.
I can,
Yeah,
That'd
we can
work.
do that.
yeah.
You know, it's always difficult for me where I'm bringing these big projects forward. I want to keep you folks informed
Yeah.
and keep you involved, but yet it's very difficult to get access to you, frankly. Workshop is one way where I can do that, and so that's basically why I asked for a few minutes at the workshop.
Yeah.
Share with you what we've learned. But if you'd rather, we do it in one big step, we can do that.
I think what Kip, everybody's saying, from what I hear anyways, Highway Department, Al has doing their due diligence on trying to inform people and gather information. Then the second step in that process of information gathering would be to have a meeting, a public hearing where people would just come and give their feedback as to what
Yeah.
they think about things.
Yeah.
And then we put that together and we can really have
Right.
a full discussion then about.
Yeah.
We can
And
do
you've
Then I'll
always
be
been good
comfortable
about
making-
emails and phone calls and stuff.
I try to, I really do,
Yeah,
but you know, basically, I'm running a $20 million business
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
keep you informed on every item that comes
Oh, yeah.
along. I try to
Yeah.
use my
Yeah.
intuition on what you're gonna be especially interested in,
Yeah.
and where you're gonna wanna have feedback. And I know this is a sensitive project,
Yeah.
and so, I'm erring on the side of, let's share what I have at a workshop.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do it that way, certainly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just one way of doing it.
Yeah.
We can wait, have a public hearing, and have a workshop afterwards.
We'll
think
still
that
be
would-
sharing it at a public, at a
Yes.
work session, you're just gonna have more information for us.
Yes.
Like I said, you could prepare,
Yep.
you could prepare that stuff and bring it to the work session on, the next work session. I wouldn't be willing to give you any direction at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to me, it's kind of a, let's just compile
Yeah.
it. You know, you just said that we're all hard to get a hold of, so I think that's more productive.
Yep.
Yeah, so-
Nope, that's fine.
Well, good.
We'll try to get that scheduled relatively soon because we're heading into construction season. We've got a open house for one to schedule this month for 66. We've got to put materials together.
I've got your proposed dates in an email. I can share that with the rest of the board here at the end of the meeting, and maybe we can come up with dates that work for us.
Yeah. And you know, we could actually, if you wanna pick 2 days out of that bunch.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get both done.
Absolutely. So, okay.
One thing that's kinda interesting too is, there's the county state aid highway standards, and you need to build to the minimum standard or you're not eligible for funding without going through the variance procedure. There's also natural preservation route standards that people have been bringing up. Why don't you use those, especially for that north piece? In reality, we've reduced our design speeds to where they match the natural preservation route standards. So there isn't much of an advantage to it, but yet I think there's a message there. We've reduced our design speed so that it does match into these natural preservation route standards. Puts a nice handle on that aspect of it. Okay. Well, we're working on a number of small bridges, design, including the ones I passed around here. I mentioned the Tiger Grant. We bought a used sign machine from the city of Mankato. It's a CAD machine where you go to the computer, you can lay out your sign, and then it will cut the letters out. Instead of using ink to draw a picture, it uses a knife to cut out the letters. That will be very handy for emergency purposes and for construction projects where we need special, unique signing. We'll still be buying our signs, stop signs, yield signs, the standard signs from a factory that can do more economically than we can make them ourselves. But an interesting thing. The Mapleton shop, Brunton, is finishing up the plans and specs. And just as an overall view of what we're working on there, there was a lot of damage because of the smoke and soot, debris. The lights will be replaced by high energy efficient LED, light emitting diode lighting. We'll be going to radiant shop heat instead of furnaces to heat the air, more efficient. The wood interior lining will be replaced with a white metal interior lining and 1.5 inch insulation. We would be installing a fire sprinkler system.
Good plan.
Which costs a little money, but just a fraction of what the damages have been for this one event. And then the plumbing, heating, electrical, because we're doing such extensive work, need to be brought up to code, and we'll be doing that. Once we have our plans, specs, and a cost estimate, we'll be bringing that to the insurance company. How much will they pay? How much will we have to pay? I'm sure insurance will pay the bulk of it, the majority of it. I'm hoping that the building fund would pay for the remaining balance.
Sounds good. Good.
So they decided to save the building? Is
Yes.
that what I'm hearing?
The building-
Structurally, I think it's okay.
Yeah, the building itself is a mid-50s era, concrete floor, footings, concrete block.
Okay,
Structurally, it's in good condition.
good.
It's full, but I think it meets our needs for quite a while. There's two tandem trucks, a motor grader, a front end loader, a mower tractor, a pickup. So it's full, but it does meet our needs.
Very good.
Nice.
All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Al.
And tonight, there's an advisory meeting with the parks, is there?
Yes, our new,
My first time.
our new
You know, that.
commissioner representative for the park board is certainly invited. 7 o'clock tonight, county highway office,
Right at your place up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
at Al's house.
Are there snacks or anything like that, Al, or should I bring something, or
Well, coffee,
you'll have coffee?
I think we have cookies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we take a 10-minute break?
Yeah.
That's a good idea, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we back in session again. Shall we continue with our administrative services?
Mr. Chair, we'll start with the county board minutes from March 25th of this year.
I'll move the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Next up would be the bills for the weeks of March 26th and April 2nd.
Okay, so a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
I just had a couple things written down.
Okay.
Halter, Theodore J., facility rental and lease for $3,244.
I believe that's rental on the Second Step Clubhouse space down at the Landmark Center.
Oh, okay. That's probably it's not just for 1 month then, I'm sure, is it?
Well, it is.
It is just 1 month?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And then USPS Hassler central postage, an even amount of $8,000.
That's postage that we use in our postage machine downstairs, so we buy kind of in bulk.
Just buy an exact amount.
Yep, and then use
Okay.
it until it's down and then recharge
Recharge
that
it.
postage.
I always wonder when I see even amounts like that. And then the second week was the Contractors Edge Incorporated contracted services, $156,000, $485.
That was a payment on the JD 43 ditch project,
Okay.
so it's a progress payment.
Yep. And then, let's see here. That was it. Thank you.
I have one, Chris Engineering, maintenance supply shop for $21,569. It's the second week of it.
Thank you.
Chris, K-R-I-S.
Second week.
Those were some cutting edges that the Public Works Department purchased for snowplows.
Okay, thank you.
I had some, let's see, and this would be the first week there. Holtmeyer Construction, Earth and Materials and Soils. Was that for the, I don't know, for the dirt merchant? I didn't know what that was for. Or what that was. 4,400 on, yeah, it's that first week.
You said it was Holtmeyer?
Holtmeyer, yeah. After Holly there, yeah, it should be the first week.
I'm not seeing it, I'm sorry. Page 24.
I've got a page. I never see the pages on here. Yeah, it is 24, page 24.
That's earthwork out at the Ponderosa.
Oh, that was at the
landfill.
Ponderosa, they did, okay, I didn't know if they're, Mankato Ford that was vehicles purchased,
Oh, yeah,
that's
I
the
know.
same. Was that, yeah, I don't know, those
It's
pickups or?
4 squad cars.
Oh, that was for squad cars, okay.
The Sheriff's Department.
That would make sense there, okay. And then, that was for 4 of them, that ain't so bad.
Yeah, but now they gotta equip them.
Yeah, I know,
yeah.
it costs twice as much.
Car.
Yeah,
It's just a
cars
stripped
themselves
down
aren't so
car.
bad, yeah. That Ryko painting, I didn't know, that was facility repairman, it isn't a lot, like 1,400, I don't know. Is that here, or, I mean, is that like next door, government center or something? That was on page 26. I was just curious.
That was some painting here in the courthouse,
Oh,
the
okay.
second floor, and I believe Jesse Byer's office, and maybe some other areas.
Oh, okay, I didn't know him. Okay. All right. That's it, that's all I had.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bills are approved. Human Resources?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 3 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. We have one action item this morning, and that is authorization for the County Board Chair and the County Administrator to sign an agreement with Teamsters Local 320, which is our probation officers unit. This is a 2-year agreement that has been reached with this particular bargaining group for 2014 and 2015. The wage adjustment incorporated in this agreement is 2.5% on January 1st of each year. There are a couple of other changes in that contract. One change has to do with the maximum vacation accrual. We're not actually changing the amount of the maximum, but we're allowing the staff to exceed that maximum during a calendar year. But at the end of the year, if they exceeded that, those hours would either be lost, or in the case of a new provision that's been added, we are allowing up to 20 hours exceeding the maximum at the end of the year to be converted to a post-employment health savings account. We did hear from our bargaining groups about ways that we could recognize long-term employees, so only employees that have been here 15 years or more would be eligible for that excess being converted into the health savings account. And so that is a new provision. We also increased their training account from $2,000 to $4,000 annually, and we also established a labor management committee for that particular bargaining group with representatives then from the union and management meeting together to continue to talk about issues that might be important to the membership going forward.
So that would mean if I hit the maximum on my vacation and it goes over, I would have the opportunity then to schedule some time off before the end of the year, before that fiscal year.
Well, if you're talking about the new provision,
Yeah.
the limit is 320 hours that can be carried from one year to the next. And so if they were sitting at 340 hours on December 31st, they would have the option of converting those 20 hours into a healthcare savings account versus losing them, which was what would happen
Oh, I see.
currently.
And if they think they're gonna be over, let's say in October, they're already over or something, they can schedule some time off if they want to too.
Sure, that's always been an option to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the previous contract said if they hit 320, they couldn't have their hours go above that. They would lose as soon as they hit
Oh, I see.
320. Now we've extended so they could go above that 320, and then, like you're saying there in that example, in the last quarter, they could draw it down to 320. Or if they wanted to preserve a few hours and have it converted to a healthcare savings account, that now would be an option as well.
Okay.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
Under the informational items then, we did receive a resignation from Pete Otterness in our Environmental Services Department, so we have begun recruitment to fill that position. We also had resignations of a couple of part-time library staff, and so we have initiated recruitment to refill those part-time positions. We have filled the new part-time position in the License Center. And then to fill a financial assistance specialist position, our Jennifer Hazley from Extension has accepted the offer to move over to financial assistance. I'm sorry. We have one 911 dispatcher that has completed 12 months of employment and due for a salary adjustment. And then we did have a resignation of a custody officer, and so we've initiated recruitment there as well. Any questions on those items?
Okay, thank you.
Next up in your packet is the annual County Boat and Water Safety Grant Agreement. This grant is for $9,897 to cover some temporary sheriff's deputy staffing to cover boat and water safety concerns. So this is a renewal of an annual grant that we've received from the state.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And I see there's a person posting for that position for the summer too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, we needed to get going on the recruitment so that once this agreement was signed, and we're getting close to the time where hopefully we'll have open water and can have that person then out patrolling our lakes and streams.
The season might be a little shorter this year, but.
Right. Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 6 in your packet then is a drainage inspector's report for JD 39. We have a blowout on a 30-inch tile that needs to be repaired or replaced. You see a picture there of the hole in the field. The estimated cost is between $300 and $600, and we do have a sufficient balance in that account. So I'd recommend approval of that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Anything else, Bob?
I believe that's all we have for today.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to recess to Uncle Albert's in Eagle Lake.
Somebody must like the pie there. No.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried.